Hey, it's James here from GoodGuitarist.com, and today I'm going to show you how to play Paperback Writer on electric guitar. And this is an awesome song for getting used to a bunch of the things that we can do on electric guitar. And one of the biggest for me is using your first finger to kind of roll between a few strings. As far as playing the rhythm part, it's just 2 chords. We're going to be using the power chord, which is like the foundation of the bar chord. We're going to start off with that main riff. As far as the sound, I'm playing through a Vox AC30. The Beatles used Vox amps. People say that John played it on his Gretsch. Some other people say that Paul played it on his Casino, or that George played it. Who knows? Either way, it sounds like a semi-hollow guitar, which I have right here, but you just do the best with what you have. We want a little bit of a gritty tone. The riff starts off with the tip of our first finger on the 3rd fret of the low E string, the thickest string. And then we're going to roll our finger to the 3rd fret of the A string and hammer on to the 5th fret of that string. So 3, roll, and then hammer. And I recommend just trying that a few times by itself. I know it's tempting to want to play the whole riff, but just play a little bit of it to really get the technique going. And then from here, we're going to roll our ring finger over to the 5th fret of the D string. So the first 4 notes, roll, hammer, roll. Awesome technique builder. And notice I'm just kind of adding 1 note and then I'm doing it a whole bunch of times. And then from here, I'm going to go back to the 3rd fret of the thickest string. And then I'm going to roll to the D string at the 3rd fret. So, adding that's for me the toughest part, is doing that big roll from the E string to the D string, both at the 3rd fret. And we just add it to what we have so far. Then from here, we have the second half. We start off in the same spot, 3rd fret of the thickest string, and we roll to the 3rd fret of the A string, just like before. Then we go back to the 3rd fret of the thickest string, and then we go a quick hammer to the 5th fret. So from the 3rd fret of the A string to the 5th fret, 3rd fret of the thickest string, and then a hammer to the 5th fret of the A string, and then finally the 3rd fret of the D string. So that second half, and I recommend practicing it in halves. The first half, and then something that once you're used to that, if you want to challenge yourself, is you can kind of leave your index in one spot the entire time, so that it's pressing all 3 of those strings at the 3rd fret. And that makes the riff sound a lot more fluid. Either way, those are the notes. Now, as far as the rhythm and the picking is concerned, you want to use as many downstrokes as you can. For the timing, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You can just see how it all lines up there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And just take your time with it. That's really the best advice I can give, is just count out loud. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And all downstrokes sounds great for that. Then for the second half, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So 1 and then on beat 2 we keep holding that note. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Once again, just looking at the counting, seeing how it lines up. You got to get used to playing the riff first before you can really perfect that stuff. And some people can just feel the rhythm. It's totally depends on your level, right? I might be boring you by showing you this, but for those of you who need it, it is important to count it out, to playing it, to feeling it, the technique of it, and then adding that rhythm. You know, don't skip that essential step. As far as incorporating this within the song, I'm going to use some power chord shapes. So I have my 3rd fret of the thickest string, and then the 5th fret on the A string, and then the 5th fret on the D string. And I'm just doing like a little strumming pattern where I'm just kind of, let me turn down. I'm just aiming at the thicker strings. I'm going down, 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 up, down, up. And you can see the order of the chords. I put it in the corner. We do that simple pattern going down, 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 up, for every chord symbol there. So we do it 8 times on G, then 2 times on C. And when we go to C, we take this exact same shape and we just drag it up until our first finger is on the 8th fret. Same shape. This is now a C chord. We do it 2 times on C. And then we go back and we do our riff. As far as the entire song, like playing this in the context of the entire song, it starts off with the vocal thing, you know, paperback writer, writer, writer. Then we do our riff 2 times. And then we do our strumming pattern 8 times on G. Here's to ride when you take a look. Gum da 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 da, but a man named me, but I need a job and I wanna be a paperback. 2 times on C. Paperback writer. 1 time riff, and then we go back into the thing. So we end our verse playing that riff once, and then we play another verse. And we do the same thing. We chomp the G chord for 8 measures, the C chord for 2 measures. And then when we get to the end of the second verse, we just go. So we just play 4 notes, you know, we just go. Ending on that 3rd fret of the D string, and we just let it ring out. And then it goes into another one of those paperback writer bits. And then we just repeat that whole thing again. And that's it, you know, that's the entire tune. If you want to play through the entire song, I do have that other lesson where we talk about, you know, all the little bits and pieces and everything. And I recommend giving the original recording a listen. You know, that's really going to help inform you a lot. Anybody who has like no problem playing through songs, a big chunk of that is that they're so familiar with how the song sounds, they can just hear it playing in their head, you know. So that's a really important skill to build up at this point. If you want some extra help, like I said before, I have my lead guitar ebook that's completely free for all my subscribers. I also have a lead guitar course that's designed for people who want to start off with electric guitar, you know, and not bother with like the acoustic guitar with the chords and strumming, but still learn all those fundamental things like rhythm and all that stuff. You know, it's not a very technical course. It does get there eventually, but it starts off really simple and it's really fun. And the whole point is to get you able to show up at a jam session and to be able to play and, like, you know, pull it off. So I'll put a link to that in the corner. Otherwise, have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.